So I went to the Islamic Center, see a gentleman in the shoe room taking off his shoes. He looks at me and he smiles. He said, "Can I help you?" And I said, "Yeah, I want you to teach me about Islam." So he went and he gave me a Quran. "Read this. Come back when you have questions." So I did. And I would see things in the book. I'd be like, "There it is. I got them right there. Explain that to me." And they would. This was a kind of awakening. Long story short, 8 weeks after that first day I stepped into the Islamic Center, I became a Muslim.
As the world comes to terms with the recent events that unfolded in New Zealand, there is a radically different story with a similar beginning that is being shared today, one that begs the question, what if? Both stories feature a man full of hatred towards Muslims and wanting to act upon this hatred.
I get a knock at the door and hear two guys in a suit. I'm from the FBI. The first thing I have to say is, "What took you guys so long?" I told them the truth. I was going to make my own IED, and I was going to set across the Islamic Center over in a bank's parking lot, and I was going to dial it in and just watch the show.
Welcoming Mr. McKinney.
My big thing is now to stop the hate.
Nothing good has ever come out of hatred.
I've done too many things. I've hurt a lot of people. I have to live with that. But if I can stop somebody else on the path of non-forgiveness, I won.
The outcome, however, is what sets them apart. Richard McKinney is the president of the Muslim Students Association at Ball State University in Indiana and the vice president of the Islamic Center of Muncie before his roles as a community activist.
Muslim, a veteran, and a proud American. I had learned that I was completely wrong about everything that I felt. You know, Judaism had a message, Christianity had a message, Islam had a message. Funny thing is, though, it was the same message. It was about peace, and it was about love.
In this powerful video that is truly a testament that Allah guides whom He wills, Richard McKinney, a U.S. Marine veteran, admits that he once hated Muslims to the point that he was plotting to blow up an Islamic center. Once he gave the Muslim community and Islam a chance, you can guess what happened next. Watch Brother McKinney share his moving message above.
I was a fairly happy kid. I had friends. I liked to run the streets. In high school, I'd gotten in a lot of trouble. My biggest downfall is I was involved in drugs, both using and selling. It made life harder on me. Made school it did make school impossible. Fed off itself. At that point, I was drinking a half-gallon of vodka every 2 days. I had devised a plan, create my own IED, homemade bomb, and I was going to set it off right outside the Muncie Islamic Center. 200 plus killed or injured. That was the plan. I saw an opportunity to do one last thing for my country. This was my rationale. I knew I would end up in a federal prison with a needle in my arm. I didn't care. My hatred of Islam, it was the only thing that was keeping me alive. This is my country. My city. Got to the point to where I just wanted to do harm to them.
I guess I just held on to the hope, that being in a loving relationship would help him move away from the anger and the hatred that he had. I never thought in a million years that he would consider doing anything to anyone. One
day my daughter comes home, second grade maybe. She was telling me about this little boy who sat across from her. His mom came to get him. She said she had scarves on her and she had a dress all the way down to her feet and you couldn't see her on nothing but her eyeballs. At that point, I snapped. Started spewing things out of my mouth that should never be said in front of children or anything. She didn't say anything. It was the look on her face. I remember my daughter looking at me like I was absolutely the craziest person on the face of the earth. She was my little buddy. Yeah, she used to say we were road dogs. I know, I saw it in her eyes. I made her question that love. And that's when a light bulb came on. I decided to give the people of this community one more chance. I know I'm right. These people were killers. And I knew that in order to be able to stand and face my daughter, about this, about what I have planned, I need to be able to show her proof. I need to be able to show the rest of the world proof. So I went to the Islamic Center to get the proof. I didn't wanna be with these people, because if I walk inside this building, I might not come out. So I went to the Islamic Center, see a gentleman in the shoe room taking off his shoes. He looks at me and he smiles. He said, "Can I help you?" And I said, "Yeah, I want you to teach me about Islam."
When I first saw him, I was driving down the street, and then I was actually coming to the masjid. And when I saw him, he was walking kind of fast. His head was kind of down, kind of lower, you know, it was kind of red in the face a little bit. Right? I knew something was wrong. He just looked like this guy who had a lot on his mind, pacing back and forth. I remember saying, there's something not right with this guy.
He looks at me and I look at him. He smiles and he said, "Can I help you?" So he went and he gave me a Quran. "Read this. Come back when you have questions." So I did. And I would see things in the book. I'd be like, "There it is. I got him right there. Explain that to me." And they would. This was a kind of awakening. Long story short, 8 weeks after that first day I stepped into the Islamic Center, I became a Muslim. I felt my stomach tighten up, chest tighten up. I tried to keep my senses about me. I got very anxious. I didn't trust them. I considered myself somebody as a future news story on Al Jazeera. By the end of the night, I figured they would have me in the basement with a sword to my throat. He sits at my feet. He hugged my leg. This guy doesn't know me. Hugged my leg. That was pretty heavy. They don't even know the truth.
That is one of my duty. When you say salam to somebody, salam, what that means to tell this other person that you are safe from me. There will be no danger from me.
I just wanted to die. That's all I wanted. I wanted the peace, man. I needed to stop the voices. I needed to stop the noise. And I just wanted the peace.
We'll talk about his wife, we'll talk about his daughter, we'll talk about his tours he had in other countries. I thought they were very interesting because he came from an environment, where he was killing Muslims. He was at war with Muslims, right? In his mind, right? So I was able to understand.
He definitely wanted to be a part of the community, and he felt welcome, and he, you know, it was really kind of bizarre because he was hugging the people that he wanted to choke.
You know, Judaism had a message, Christianity had a message, Islam had a message. Funny thing is, though, it was the same message. It was about peace, and it was about love.
Please join me in welcoming Mr. McKinney.
My big thing is now to stop the hate.
Nothing good has ever come out of hatred.
I've done too many things. I've hurt a lot of people. I have to live with that. But if I can stop somebody else on the path of non-forgiveness, I won.
There are likewise many other stories of enemies who went to harm the Prophet, peace be upon him, and were guided. Who knows how many noble hearts there are polluted with Islamophobia, which just requires some polish and dawah in order to turn from the worst of the worst to the best of the best by the permission of their Lord.
The more time I spent around them, the more I started to change. I spent so long in the military, man. You know, I had this band of brothers, if you want to call it. It was gone. We've been disbanded. There was no more.
Islam was definitely a positive change for Mac. And I ultimately supported that change, but it wasn't, you know, it wasn't the right choice for me. Even though we're not married anymore, I still care about him. I hope that he finds forgiveness for himself and that he can be happy.
Surah 5, 32nd verse in the Quran. To kill one human being is as if you killed all of humanity. But to save one human being is as if you saved all of humanity. I hope the day comes when I can forgive myself. Maybe.